Brilliant. Can everyone see that all okay? Yeah,
If you just
seeing
do a
thumbs.
thumbs up or yeah,
Yeah.
okay, amazing. And also just to let you know, we will send out the slides. So if there's anything that you feel like we went a bit too quick on or you couldn't quite make notes, they all will be sent out. So don't worry about that too much. Yeah, thank you all so much, and welcome to our session today on how to recruit volunteers. We're going to be showing you the platform that we at Lewisham Local use and lots of other groups in the Lewisham Borough use, which is Simply Connect. Daisy is a bit of our resident expert on that, so she will be
Mhm.
talking you all through how to use it and to navigate it. And yeah, this was kind of, we launched it in celebration during volunteering week. And at Lewisham Local, we're really passionate about supporting people in the borough to volunteer. As you all know, it's so important it really helps community groups, but it's also so beneficial for different people in the borough, different age groups. It's a great way to develop skills, but also it's really important for tackling issues like social isolation, building up people's CVs. There's obviously quite a problem with unemployment as well. So that's a great way to get people back into work. And yeah, we're just very passionate about volunteering at Lewisham Local. So hopefully we can go into that a bit more today. Next slide. Okay, so what we'll cover today. So we've done introductions, and then just quickly once again, if you want to introduce yourself in the chat, please go for it. And I hope you can exchange details and learn from each other. And yep, Daisy's going to go through Simply Connect, explain what it is and who is using it. Fabian's going to take us through some real case studies and examples from organizations that have successfully used Simply Connect. And that will just really help you to understand how beneficial it is as a platform and the different types of volunteers that they've managed to have. So hopefully that outlines it for you. And then, yeah, you're going to get a chance to learn how to use Simply Connect in all of its really great ways, from setting up an account, posting your roles, and connecting with different volunteers. And then we'll wrap up with a Q&A. So if you've got any questions, write them down, keep them in your mind, and then we have a dedicated time at the end. Okay, so what is Simply Connect? So as we've mentioned, it's a volunteering platform online where you can promote your opportunities and connect directly with community members. So you might want to kind of think of it as like a virtual notice board that goes out to the community of all your opportunities, information about your community group, what you're looking for, what you're after. So that could be maybe you're a community garden and you want people with specific interest in gardening and planting and horticultural experience, or complete beginners and newbies, and you're maybe partnering with mental health charities to get people outside. You could be a community kitchen and you want people with cooking experience, all sorts of range. Simply Connect is a really broad platform. Whatever volunteering you're looking for, you can put it on there. So just the basics of how it works, but just again, Daisy will be going through this, so don't worry if I don't cover everything. But it's really simple. You just have to register and verify online. It's a very quick process. And then once your account is approved, you can start posting your specific roles straight away. And then it's done on a system of smart matching. So it's kind of like an algorithm. The Simply Connect system will actually suggest and prompt matches based on the availability of volunteers, their specific interests, and what your community group is looking for. Um, and then, yeah, it's direct outreach. So potential volunteers can also look through there, be able to see your listing, and then they can reach out to you directly to discuss the volunteering role, and you can take it from there. So basically, in a way, you can think of Simply Connect as almost a matchmaking service, but just, yeah, rather than online dating between volunteering community group roles and volunteers. So it's a really smart system and it takes the hassle out of you having to kind of market your volunteer roles in loads of different ways, just putting them up on your socials maybe and hoping that people will find it. This actually is a really wide system and it's already people who want to volunteer that are in your area can find it really easily. So just kind of takes all the hard work out of looking for volunteers. Next slide. Okay, so this is quite an interesting breakdown of who is using Simply Connect. And once these slides get sent out to you, you can keep this to look at it. But so there's over 600 volunteers have created an account, so that's brilliant. There's obviously a big desire for people that want to volunteer. And there's a really wide breakdown of different ages, different areas, different genders. So gender of volunteers, quite a high proportion of female, 61%. And then male is almost 40%. And then non-binary and transgender is very small, and that's only 1.7%. So hopefully we can grow that. And hopefully at some point we can make the split a little bit more even between men and women, but that's fairly not too dramatic as well. And then age of volunteers, as you can see, that chart is really varied and vast. The main proportion is young people, so people between 20 to 29, and also that's 44%, and then under 20s is 10%, which is really good. And you kind of expect to see that with often young people at school or young people who have just left education, want to build up their skill set, want to try new things, get an experience of working in lots of different ways. And then you can kind of see the breakdown. It's quite big for 30 to 40 and 40 to 49, and then it gets a bit smaller over the age of 50, but still quite a high proportion when you consider it as well. And then the postcode, I won't go into too much detail, but as you can see, this is going to be perfect for you if you are based in Lewisham or South East London, because over half of the volunteers who are in Simply Connect are based in South East London. But also, even if they are based in another postcode, that doesn't mean that they're automatically going to not want to volunteer with you. So you'll find a really high proportion of people who are based in your area, and therefore they're keen to volunteer with you. And then you might just notice that some of the specific demographics we haven't been able to get into because they haven't been filled out. So that's ethnicity, sexual orientation, disability. So unfortunately, we can't highlight them for you today, but that is something that we want to do in the future. And then I think we've just got one more breakdown of yeah, the different. So this is more on the side of organizations who have created an account. So this will be the type of thing that you'll be doing. Again, postcodes really in South London varied as well. 30% South London wide, and then big chunk in SE6 and SE4. Central Lewisham, smaller amount, and then SE8 and SE14. But again, yeah, just very South London wide. And then, yeah, very equal spreads in types of groups as well. So we've got community development and support, 30%, culture, education, environment, 23%. And obviously, all of these headings are quite broad, like groups might fit into one or two of these kind of sections. But yeah, that covers a wide range that community groups are doing. And then, yeah, we've got health, well-being and care, targeted social and family provisions, and advice, advocacy, and financial hardship. So as you can see, there's so many different types of groups who are using Simply Connect. So many groups have an account. It's really beneficial no matter what your group is working on. And eventually we would probably like to see more of an even spread throughout South London. Some of the other postcodes getting a higher percentage. But that just depends about kind of where the most biggest congregations of groups happen to be in Lewisham, and that's kind of what we see represented here. I believe I'm passing on to Fabian now. He's going to give you some really interesting case studies.
Thanks, Maeve. Actually, could you go back a bit for me, Daisy? Go back to the slide before. All right, cool. So before I brought that slide up, oh yes, and so now look out for the poll as well, because before Daisy gets to her section, we want to get an idea of how confident you are or what your success has been with recruiting volunteers before we introduce you to Simply Connect, because we want to do comparison at the end. So look out for that poll, and at the end, we're also going to be asking what areas in Lewisham you do most of your work in. What I want you to do now is think about you, your organization, where you're at in terms of volunteers, what your experience has been, hitches, glitches, successes, and also what you'd like to see shift. So bring that to the front of your mind before we share these two case studies with you about where you are now with recruiting volunteers, gaps you want to fill, and that kind of thing. So while you're doing that and bringing that to the forefront of your mind, we're going to share with you two experiences. So, Teatro Vivo is a drama club for adults with learning disabilities. And he said the previous volunteer, their experience was pressures on their lives made it difficult to engage regularly, a very real thing for volunteers. Oftentimes, people have the heart, the passion, and the interest, but as the young folks and not so young folks say, life tends to life. Stuff happens and shifts happen, and sometimes people's availability or sometimes their willingness shifts. Teatro Vivo's experience was that the platform, Simply Connect, allowed them to recruit some people, at least two people who they named, Callum and Kaz, who brought energy and engagement beyond what volunteers have brought in the past. So remember, Maeve mentioned earlier this thing around thinking about like speed dating, connecting. Some of these speed dating places, and some of them are a little more truthful than others. Actually, try to match you in terms of interest, personality. Simply Connect allows you to do that, and as we said, people can respond. Volunteers can respond to a prompt or a description of what you're asking, but you can also link with somebody based on what you're seeing in their profile.
I'll give you just your space. Sorry.
Somebody's mic is open.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know how to
Okay. So Kaz,
I did something.
yeah, somebody, yeah. Okay, cool. Thanks, Daisy. Kaz had a background in drama therapy, and Kaz described having more volunteers as transformative for attendees and noticed that the recruitment process was seamless. I promise you, this is not a paid advertisement. No money change hands for these endorsements, but this is people's real and lived experience. So that was Teatro Vivo. On to the next case study.
They're doing it.
Yes.
There we go.
So 999 Club. So 999 Club provides holistic support to individuals experiencing homelessness in Southeast London. And their testimony from their service manager, Ziska, is that finding online platforms that would reach out to people in the local area was their struggle. And she said, since uploading roles onto Simply Connect, they have successfully recruited several volunteers, including Bonita, who is shown here at reception. And Bonita found the role via the portal, which you're going to see is user-friendly, and finds the work deeply rewarding. She says, listening to members' experiences is inspiring. It brings me joy to see their happiness when they find a place to stay. So one of the things I often say to people or remind people is that in that blend, that mix, that symbiosis that works with volunteering, the only thing that's different or ideally is not being paid. Because you want volunteers who show up like it's a job, who are passionate about it, you know, with the boundaries and things, but it's not like, oh yeah, whatever. If I feel like today, I'll show up. And if it's not done properly, it doesn't matter. You want people whose hearts, souls, and minds are in it, so they show up with it with a tenacity, commitment, and passion, that the only difference is that maybe the hours are less and they're not being paid. Because even that, also that thing of, you know, let's say I'm volunteering with you and I said, yes, I will do this festival, I'll be at this expo, this fair, but something comes up in my life that prevents me from doing that, as opposed to just not saying anything or waiting until the day when poor Daisy calls me to say, Fabian, where are you? Like, oh, I'm not coming. I could let her know, especially if I have no, I could say, oh, Daisy, guess what? Something has come up and I won't be able to do the can you find somebody else? Or if I'm moving and familiar with the cadre of volunteers, I might find a replacement for her. I could say, oh, guess what? I spoke to Carlene and Carlene's going to take my place because so I took that weight off her. But that only happens if I care about it, if it matters to me, and if that match works. And we are affirming and knowing that Simply Connect will do that for you and more. Um, Onward, over to Daisy, who's going to give you your walkthrough of how the system
Brilliant.
works.
Thank you. Thanks, Fabian. But yeah, I think I think we really wanted to include those case studies as well to kind of let you know that from both ends that we've received positive feedback, that organisations have found it easy to use and they've been successful finding volunteers, and also the other side, that people like Benita have been able to find opportunities like 999 Club that maybe if they were just scouring the internet blindly, maybe they wouldn't have found that opportunity. So yeah, it's really lovely as well, and we're grateful to have them share their stories with us. Okay, so to get into the nitty-gritty now of what Simply Connect is and how to use it. You okay, Fabian?
Oh, yeah, hang on. So I just wanted to double check. Has the poll happened? Because we wanted to do the poll before you did this.
I think you might need to make it because I think Maeve's maxed her polls, her poll usage.
Oh, okay. So tell you what, folks. So we're gonna do the in the trenches version. Can you just put in the chat? Just answer the question in the chat because we can download that later. How confident do you feel now on a scale of 1 to 5 about recruiting volunteer? What your experience has been? So 1 being the lowest, 5 being the highest. Just drop them in the chat so we can pull those out later. And then we promise that the end poll we would have sorted out the glitches.
I'll give people maybe a minute just to do that, and
Yes.
then we can crack on.
So from 1 to 5, 1 being the lowest, 5 being the highest in terms of your confidence and success rate with recruiting volunteers at this point. Great. I see some people. Thanks, Maeve. And I see some people dropping their numbers in. Awesome.
I can't see the chat, so let me know when there's a good amount, and I'll crack on.
Yeah. And they're coming robustly and briskly. So I'm going to give a countdown so you can start in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Thanks, Fabian.
You're
Okay,
welcome.
so Simply Connect. So how to find it on our website. So this is our website. It'd be great, Maeve or Fabian, if you could just add this link to the chat. That'd be really great. So people, if they wanted to follow along at home, you could if you really wanted to. But yeah, so this is how you find it from our main page. So you click on volunteer. And then you go on volunteering opportunities. So I'll click on that now. Oh, give me a second. Logging me out. Let me get back on. Okay, let's try that again. So volunteer
volunteering opportunities. And this is what volunteers like Benita, for example, would have seen and will see. So you scroll down, and these are all our volunteering opportunities that are happening in Lewisham. As Maeve said about it kind of being like a notice board, you can see the table on the right. These are all the volunteering opportunities that are happening. And as you can see here, there's all these numbers. There's currently 55 roles that are available at the moment that organisations have uploaded. So there is a plethora of volunteering opportunities that are happening. And as we saw again from the statistics, there's 600 people who are eager to volunteer. So yeah, there's the need and there's the opportunity. So it's really great that we can work with you guys today to help you utilise this site. I wanted to start off by just showing you, I guess, how it would look for a volunteer, so you could kind of gauge it from that perspective first, and then we can move on how you upload your roles. But yeah, so if someone wanted to, they could literally just scroll through all of these volunteering opportunities if that's what they wanted to do. It's particularly great, I guess, for people who might not know what they want to do. I think a lot of volunteers are wanting to explore different avenues or might not know exactly what their skill sets are. And I guarantee a lot of these volunteering opportunities, you need absolutely no skills. They just want someone who is a positive person and is someone who is willing to learn. So I would say 99% of these volunteering opportunities are probably great for most people. But so what I would say and recommend to people is using this keyword search is your best way to go if you do want to kind of tunnel vision into certain opportunities. So for example, let's say you're really into cooking and that's what brings you joy and that's what you want to volunteer doing. You could type in food, search that there, and can you see it's you click down to search and now it's limited it to 14 roles. So then you can see, okay, let's say you want to apply for the food cycle hosting role. You like the look of that. You click on read more and then you would scroll down, maybe have a look at what the role entails, the description of it. On the right here, can everyone see? It tells you as well what kind of availability that role is. This is really important that if you include that to save, I guess, your time, having people apply for it that might not even then have the capacity and vice versa, saves them the time in applying when actually they might not be available. Really important having these activities and skill attributes. Again, what I was saying about people might not recognize what their skills are. And then if they read that and think, oh, actually, I'm good at cleaning and tidying, or I am quite good at generally helping, then that kind of gives them that positivity and affirmation that they can do this role. Again, so really great to just have clear instructions of what the role will entail, give people a good idea of what they'll be doing, so the time commitments, emphasizing what is flexible and what isn't flexible within the role is really useful. And then you can see further down, there's the contact details, where it would be located with the postcode. And then normally within the application process, this is a formation. So you most likely need to have a DBS or an application form, health and safety, for example. All those things are normally expected when you recruit volunteers. So let's say I'm absolutely buzzing for this role and I want to apply. I have a volunteer account, which you saw me log into. And what I would like to do is use this text box here to say, hi, I'm interested in this role. Please give me a call. Give me a call on la 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 la. Okay, and then so I would click this green button here, register interest, and that would get sent to that organization. And that is how basically the system works. And that's how you create that first contact. And in a minute, I'll show you kind of how you would receive that as an organization. So you'll see that on the back end as well. But that is ultimately how Simply Connect works. So people can find those opportunities and message people directly. And yeah, it's a really great tool for that. Does anyone have any questions in the meantime, just before we move on to how how you'll view it as an organisation. Anyone got any questions regarding sort of the volunteer lens?
I have a question.
Mhm.
So from like the profile where it says like skills and attributes, there are like 2 skills subheadings. Are they
Yes.
both skills that the volunteer should have or that we want them to have?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So for example, I'll go back to the food cycle one. So these are the skills that we would, I guess, food cycle have said it'd be really great if they were good for cleaning and tidying. And then so if a volunteer was searching and they could say, what skills do I have? And then say, oh, actually, I might be good at cleaning and tidying, and it would come up with the same search engine
Okay,
as
perfect.
before, if that
Thank
makes
you.
sense. Brilliant. Shay?
Hi, my question is about, where the field where you have DBS and other things, I can't remember what's in there. I usually leave that blank because I'm not sure if we're asking the volunteer if they already have it or it's something we will apply for. So because I didn't want people to not apply, I kind of left it blank.
Yeah, that's also fine. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. I think as well, it can be something that within your role description, I'll click back on food cycle host here. But under what's in it for you, you could maybe also just clarify there that we would be providing the DBS.
Okay.
So that's clear for them, that they don't feel like that's a hurdle for them, that they think, oh, now I'm going to have to apply for my DBS and it's a big ordeal. I think, yeah, it's also good to clarify within the what's in it for you, specifically what you'll be providing for them.
What should I do then on that field? Should I tick the box or should I not tick the box? That's the bit that's confusing.
Okay, if you're providing a DBS,
Yeah.
I would click yes, because all organisations who hire volunteers should be the ones who are providing the DBS for the volunteer.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No worries. We've got one other hand. Helen?
Hi, yeah, I put it in the chat. So the keyword search when a volunteer is looking for something, will that pick up words anywhere in the text, anywhere in the text that you upload?
Yeah.
Because I mean, obviously, there's a bit of a skill to you using the words that you anticipate people might search for, isn't there?
Yeah.
Okay, so it will just pick up. So if they're looking for, okay, so anywhere in that text, if they search for family or children or something like that, it will come up. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess it might have been slightly confusing because food cycle, it literally has it in the name, but most charities wouldn't have the word in their organisation. But yeah, it's just within any of that vast text that is within their description. So yeah, exactly. If you have in your description that you're supporting families or children, and if they key search the word family or children, that would come up.
So it's good to have a text that kind of covers anything that volunteers might be looking for within that kind of world.
Yeah, definitely. I'd recommend that. Yeah, keeping it broad and I guess that's with anything, but having a wide scope so that you're reaching a vast amount of people is always better, I would say.
And can you just repeat what you said about the DBSs? Like, I mean, do you think you should tick that or not tick that?
So if you provide DBS for your volunteers, tick it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No worries. Carleen.
Hiya. Do you think it's wise for us to look at ones that have already gone on, that are already on there, to get an idea as an example what we should be putting?
Absolutely, Carleen. Yeah, why not? Yeah, it's a good way to kind of gauge as well. I would say just from personal experience, ones that have a very clear description, always the ones that receive an influx of volunteers being interested. I think in particular, maybe ones that just say volunteer as the role, maybe it's too vague for some people, and I think people prefer a bit more of a specific understanding of what they will be volunteering doing. So I think being specific, for example, like this, saying food cycle, you will be a host, gives people a clear sort of tunnel vision of what that role is. And then once you kind of fill out the description, then you can, what we were saying, Helen, about kind of then having a broad description of what the role might entail, and having that wide scope. But kind of, I think for the short description, it's really good to kind of be specific about what the role is.
Brilliant. Can I just say one thing as well? You know your poll, Fabian, what do you put if you work across Lewisham? Because it only allows you to do one.
Carleen, maybe you can do you have a base in Lewisham, like an office? Maybe do where you're based, just to make it simple for yourself.
Where was that then?
So if you know where if your base is in north of the borough, south, east, west.
Sorry, I didn't hear. Is Parkside north of Lewisham or?
Parkside
Can you
is
hear me?
east.
East, okay.
Tideway, we're in Southwark. So, but we have volunteers come from all over London. So that's why I've come on to this today.
Yeah.
If you're like doing general across Lewisham, maybe you can just put in the chat all areas general, and we're making note of that. Sorry, I think the polls have proved quite tricky today, so we're doing our best with them, but some technical bits, but thank you.
And just actually on that, Kate, you just reminded me, again, I think so with this, for example, this is a good example of, let's say your organisation isn't directly based in Lewisham. So for example, what you're saying, being in Southwark, but you recruit a lot of volunteers in Lewisham, using this platform would still be useful for you, and you can still use this platform. So just to address that while that's on my mind.
Yeah, no, we're such a kind of niche organisation that we have to kind of recruit from wherever we can.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and I guess also what Maeve was saying about not everyone who uses this platform either is from Lewisham, but by creating an account, they're really communicating that they're willing to travel for volunteering opportunities.
Yeah.
Okay. Any final questions before I move on to showing you kind of how to use it as an organisation? We all good? Okay, so I'll go back now to the website again, our lovely Lewisham Local website, so I can show you how to use it the other end as an organisation. So once again, you click on volunteer, but you click on recruit volunteers this time. So you click on that. And then you scroll down to post volunteering opportunity. And this is where your portal will open. So first of all, if you haven't already made an account, this is where you can register. It's very easy. You just need obviously your email, your name, organisation, I think maybe your postcode, and then maybe kind of fill out a bit of a bio about your organisation, and again kind of what you provide and what communities you reach. But I won't go into how to register. That's fairly self-explanatory, but you can email hello@lewishamlocal.com, which we can put in the chat. If you have any queries specifically around sort of the technical side of Simply Connect, you can email hello and they'll support you with any of that. So I'm going to log in as our Lewisham Local organisation. So we recruit volunteers, and this is how we recruit volunteers. So you log in. Okay, so this is the back end of Lewisham Local. And if any of you have an account already, this is hopefully what you should see when you log in. So what we're going to start with is we're going to manage your roles and upload your roles, because that's how you start off anyway. So you want to click on this tab up here, which is manage roles. And you can see our lovely roles that we have that are all live. You can see where they're live. and when they were advertised and when they end. When they end, they automatically can be renewed, so you don't have to refill the whole thing again. A lot of people do that because they have regular volunteering opportunities. So that's really useful. So yeah, don't worry about the expiration date. That's just there in case it does end. And that's particularly useful if you have an event, for example, that you need volunteers for. People who need support for marathons. That's a really good example of when they've got a really tight deadline. So that's useful for them to have that kind of ready to go. So it's not being advertised after the marathon. So I'll quickly show you. Let's have a look at the Wildcat Wilderness, just so you kind of are a bit familiar with the layout of the roles. But you can see, so you need to fill out the role title. This is, 10 words or less, just a quick, bullet point of what the role is. And then the role description is where you can really elaborate what we were saying about this is how they pick up those words. So you can see here, growing organic food. So when we search for food, Wildcat Wilderness came up. So yeah, this is a really great opportunity to really explain in detail what you provide. Again, short description of the role, the advertising dates, your contact name. If there's multiple people within your organisation, I would highly, highly recommend using a shared email for the contact email below. It can be quite complicated when that one person who's on annual leave for a month is gallivanting off in Spain and you're stuck not being able to access those emails. So yeah, I'd really recommend having that shared inbox for these parts in particular. You can specify what areas you're going to be, the volunteering opportunities will be in, and that's really, really helpful for volunteers. Most volunteers that I've been working with as the coordinator, that's something that obviously they're volunteering their time, and transport's a big part of it. Again, this is a good place to potentially let them know whether you provide transport, or sometimes it's really useful to provide sort of public transport that's available, or if you're in a specific area, giving them a clear description of where your place is. For example, flow down this street and see the sign and then turn right, whatever the description is really useful. Again, this is exactly that. Wildcat Wilderness is in kind of a tough spot to find sometimes, so it's good to have that really clear example. Specifying what sort of events and volunteering it will be. So again, tick as little or many as you want, but the more you tick, the more wider your net is with kind of getting those volunteers and sort of being that matchmaker, I guess, and kind of broadening your horizon with those people, I guess. You can specify the number of volunteers as well. That can be really useful. If you could put here sometimes that you're really welcoming groups, and specifically you'd really love a group of maybe 5 people, and they can contact their friends or family to volunteer. That can be really useful. Back to what we were saying about the skills, really, really crucial that you fill this out so that you have those volunteers that connect to you and that matchmaking service works and that algorithm works. So yeah, please make sure that you fill this out and fill out as many as you see fit. Again, skill description, what's in it for you? I think Fabian kind of touched on it, but obviously volunteers are such a crucial part of organisations and charities and community groups, and they deserve reward for volunteering. So I think for me, this part is almost the most important, selling what you can provide for them, whether that's a community, whether it's skills, confidence, anything is just really useful, and it's a good sell for volunteers, definitely. Time commitments, that can be really useful again with kind of clarifying how little or flexible you are with these opportunities. I think being honest is a really good way to be in terms of time commitments. If you want a volunteer that stays for 6 months, it's worth clarifying that and letting them know, and having that kind of start as you mean to go on, and that will kind of encourage those kind of volunteers so you get the right fit as well. So that's always really useful. Age range, again, good to clarify. Again, that kind of might be based on your policies around who you can volunteer, who you can have as volunteers. You might only be able to have 18 plus, and that's absolutely fine, but that's there to clarify that. Same again with activities, fill out as many as you see fit. And again, filling out kind of what might be needed. And then what they will receive. So you can see some of them have an asterisk. So that means that is mandatory. So we expect by you recruiting volunteers that you are providing some sort of volunteering policy, and that you're providing some sort of induction. And for example, supervision. We feel these are essential for volunteers to, I guess, feel heard and feel like they want to stay there. And I guess we'll touch on that in our next event around retainment. But yeah, having these structures, we believe, is really important for volunteers to feel like they're being held by the organisation they're working for. Again, specifics around disability. You can ignore the COVID, thankfully. Brilliant. And then you can specify what your volunteering sessions are. So for example, Wildcat Wilderness is in the afternoons on Wednesdays and Friday mornings. Sorry, Thursday afternoons. And again, that's really useful. Saves them wasting time applying for a role that actually they can't even do anyway. I will go back up and show you back to managing roles. So these are our active roles. So let's say you just started out, you've just got your account approved, brilliant, you're ready to go. Obviously, you won't have any of these ready. So what you'll need to do is click add role, which is just here. I will tell you now to save you the heartbreak that I have encountered before, but just to warn you, you have a 40-minute time window to fill this out. I have most definitely gone over that and had to scream to a pillow because I've gone over the 40-minute timer and had to start again. So what I sometimes tend to do if I feel like I'm not going to get everything ready in time, just have a quick scroll of what this entails, maybe write down the important parts, maybe create a Word document with your, for example, your role description. So you've got it ready, and then you can just copy and paste everything when you're ready. But yeah, save you the time and heartbreak, because yes, that's definitely frustrating when that happens. But again, feel free if you're finding a part of this specifically really difficult, you're feeling like, why can't I move on to the next step? Something's flagging up, I'm not sure what. Please email our hello@lewishamlocal.com and they'll support you with those kind of technical sides of Simply Connect. How does everyone feel with uploading the roles? Yeah, I can only see a couple of people, but is there general thumbs up? Yeah.
It feels fine. I just feel there's just a passage missing, which is how do we register? That's the only bit. But I know you said to write to the email address, but I'm kind of impatient to get it done.
Oh, sorry. We went. So if
Daisy,
I go back,
Have I
can
missed that?
someone share the link that is how to
There was an email
register, and then we
address.
can put it in the chat.
yeah. So if you go to Lewisham Local, click on volunteer and recruit volunteers. And then scroll down to post volunteering opportunity. And this is the button here to register your organisational account. Is that what you mean?
So I'm on the actual Simply Connect Lewisham website, but that's not the right website, is it? That's for people who want to volunteer. Is it? Should I approach it a different way from there?
It's hard to know when I can't see your screen. But if you go onto Lewisham Local like this, on just our point blank website, if Maeve, are you able to add this to the group chat, the link, maybe? And then you click on volunteer and recruit volunteers. So this part here, and from there, that means that then you've been taken to the organisational side of Simply Connect.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna have a look now. Volunteering, read more.
And then you click on here, and then yeah. So, and then you register, and then we'll approve you, and you'll get an email confirmation that it's been approved. And once that's ready, then you can log in this way, just here.
Add job. Is it on add job? Sorry. Oh, well, sorry if I'm holding everyone up. Post a volunteering opportunity. Okay, let me copy that. Give it a go.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
No worries. Okay, if everyone's okay, I'll move on.
Sorry, I'm putting the links in the chat just for anyone to make it really clear. I'm doing it in steps, so feel free to have a look yourself.
Oh, amazing. Thanks, Maeve.
Found it now. Thank you.
Ah, brilliant. Okay, good to hear. So I'll move on to managing volunteers then, if that's okay with everyone. But so let's say you've created your gorgeous volunteering opportunities, and they've all been approved and they're live, they're ready to go. Now what? How do you then recruit your volunteers? So you want to click on your Manage Volunteers tab, which is just here. And here you can see your beautiful volunteers that are ready to go and they are desperate to start volunteering with you. So I'll show you it in stages. So the volunteers in progress is your first kind of area that you want to look at. And basically what this means is your volunteers in progress are people who have messaged you and said, I would love to volunteer for you. And so that's how you kind of know that these people, and you can see here under status, if people can see that, it tells you exactly what it is, I guess. So you can see that they have registered their interest in a role. So I've created some dummy volunteers for you today. But so we have Amna, who has registered their interest in Wildcat Wilderness volunteering. So that's brilliant. So then what next? How do we kind of make that relationship with Amna? How do we recruit her? So you want to click on her name, which is just here, and you can see it's kind of like a link which opens up. So you want to click on her name. So Amna, you can see here she's got some brilliant skills ready to go. She likes Lewisham Local. Wow, how lovely. And that she loves gardening. So that makes sense. That's hence why she's wanted to volunteer at Wildcat Wilderness. That's perfect. So what you want to do is scroll down to her message. So because she's registered an interest, that means she has messaged you to say, I would like to volunteer. Do you remember at the start when I showed you Simply Connect from a volunteer lens, and I sent a message saying, I'd like to volunteer, here's my number. This is the same format. So this is the other side of it. This is what you would see. So Anna said, I love nature and would like to volunteer. Do you have a form I could fill out? So what you can then do is, this is your opportunity to then message back. So you could say, hi, Amna, that's great to hear. And then I could say, here is a link to our volunteering form. And then let's say I add the link there. And I could say, feel free to give me a call on, and then my number. You only have one opportunity to send this message, because hopefully by then you have that kind of clarification of your contact details with that person. And also it means that they then have the autonomy of whether they want to volunteer or not, and they can sort of take that message and take the next steps if they wish. So I think it's really important. I'd recommend to include everything that you need in this first message. So make sure that you have your contact details, for example, a link to the form, and yeah, but also they can still see your email within the role description. So if they did need to contact you again, they can still do that. So it's not a complete write-off of then no contact. But yeah, so this is the best way to message. So once that's done, you click on this green button here, which will send it to Amna, and then hopefully she will reach out to you to apply for your volunteering roles. Obviously, all your organisations will be different and your recruitment process will be different. So some of you might have a form that you want your volunteer to fill out. You might have a very informal and casual induction process, and you might want to meet them in person just for a casual chat to start with. That is what this message is for. So feel free to personalise it to exactly what kind of workflow and sort of way that your organisation likes to work with volunteers. So I will send this message to Amna. So hopefully I will recruit this test Amna, this dummy volunteer. So as you can see at the bottom here, it says the invitation has been sent to the volunteer. So that's brilliant. That is done. So you scroll back up and you can close this tab, and that's all completed. I will refresh just so you can see. Can people see that that status has now changed? Yeah. So rather than it being a registered interest, you now know that you have contacted Amna and that process has started, which is really great. Amna will now receive an email with your message as well. So Amna can log into her account and find it that way, but she'll get an email to say this is what Lewisham Local have contacted you about. So hopefully Amna could then see that number and that link to the form and start that recruitment process herself. What I will also show you, so people who are interested in volunteering, but based on their specific, I guess, interests and what they have put in their descriptions, it therefore means that Simply Connect with their algorithm have worked out that these people would be really interested in volunteering. So that's what's really useful. So if, for example, if you've just uploaded a role and if you want to be really proactive with recruiting volunteers, this is the best way to do it, because you can take that opportunity and message them directly rather than waiting for people to contact you. You can also directly contact them. So as you can see, I think we've got absolutely heaps and heaps and pages of people who from the algorithm have said that these people are interested in volunteering, which is amazing, but that's a lot of time to go through all that. So a good hack for that is to use these profiles up here and a filter service. So can everyone see there's that little filter icon right here? So what I would recommend doing is clicking on this filter, and you can specify exactly what you might be looking for within their profile, which is basically their bio that they write when they create their accounts. So I'm going to type in love food. I would normally recommend just doing one word to keep it as a wide net. For GDPR, I'm just going to put love food just so I filter the people that I want to be filtered. But as you can see, we've got David, who has said, I love Lewisham Local. Well, thanks, David. And I love food. So that's perfect. And we think Simply Connect has made the calculation that because he loves food, because his skills are cleaning and tidying, and yeah, those skills match this role. Therefore, Simply Connect has said, you know what, David would be great for that role. So once again, we can click on David's name up here. You can see, you can read the skills he has, what activities he's interested in. He's interested in catering. Perfect. That's great for Food Cycle, where he'll be making meals for the community. And he loves food. So we scroll down. His availability looks good. He looks free every day. So that's perfect. Scroll down. He obviously hasn't sent a message yet because we're messaging him first. So you could send him a message and say, hi, Dave. We think you would be great for this role. If you are interested, please use the link to apply for our hosting role. You can say link, and then again, you can say, please give me a call, or please send me an email. Yeah. So that's basically how Simply Connect works in a nutshell, and that's how us as Lewisham Local, we have been using it, and we have been successfully recruiting volunteers this way. So we know firsthand that this is working, and we've had it from both experiences. So having people who have messaged us to say, I'd like to volunteer, but then also reading their profiles and thinking, actually, you'd be brilliant, and messaging them. And for a lot of them, they may have not thought that they were good for that role, or might felt like they didn't have the skill sets for it. So I would highly recommend messaging people if you're really interested in having some volunteers. It can be a great opportunity to recruit people that might not you may have initially been in contact with, I guess. So I will click on invite to apply to lovely David, and see. So as you can see here, again, we've got the confirmation. The invitation has been sent to the volunteer. So that's amazing. I will scroll up. Amazing. And then I'll scroll up again back to here. And can you see that he's now moved from that second box to the first one, which is volunteers in progress. And as you can see again, the status is contacted. So we know that he's now moved over. We've contacted him, and hopefully we should receive a reply soon. And again, he'll receive another email. So he'll receive an email from Simply Connect saying that Lewisham Local have reached out to you. They think you might be good for this specific role. Finally, I'll just quickly touch on this, and then we can move over to maybe some questions, and I'll keep this open so people can we can go through questions with the website open. But something that is really useful for us specifically is if people, when they have their organisations and if they use Simply Connect, to record their progress with using Simply Connect. This is really useful for us for future funding, and it's also good for us to keep an eye on how organisations are getting on and for future reports. So let's say David gets back in contact with us. He wants to volunteer for us, amazing, and he wants to start volunteering. He's no longer been contacted, he's started volunteering. So how do we change that? You want to click on edit, which is just here. And as you can see, this has kind of opened up a bit of a portal of then you can change all these parts of it. So let's say he starts volunteering today. Perfect. You can say here if there's something that you need to know about him. So that he, let's say he can't volunteer on Mondays, just so we've got that on record. But the main part that we really appreciate if you can update is the status and the status of it. So if he's not being contacted anymore, he's actually started volunteering, which is amazing. So you change that status to started. He's got his start date. Click save. Woohoo! Your volunteer has now been moved over. So then we want to scroll all the way down to here. Or let's refresh that. Why is that not doing it? Oh, unfortunately, I don't think I'll be able to show you that. But anyway, if you scroll down to the bottom, then you've got your list of all your volunteers that have basically started volunteering. So that's the best way. And then you can also keep track of it yourself. That's a really useful thing for you guys, as well as us. But yeah, does anyone have any questions about the volunteering platform for you guys as organisations? How to manage volunteers? Brilliant. Okay, Monica?
I'm just wondering, is it everything is free, or is there a point where we have to pay for something?
Completely free.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, completely free. Brilliant. Rosie?
Hey, so we have a profile on like Simply Connect London, and then also with the Lewisham, a profile on Lewisham, so volunteers can view us on like the Lewisham Local volunteering thing, but I don't get this view that you're getting now through the main platform, is it worth creating a profile directly with you? Because obviously then our roles would be like duplicated, but the one that you're showing us now is way more helpful and user friendly. So I'd prefer to use this.
Okay, good
But
to
I don't like,
know.
for example, I can't, when I get volunteers that have matched with us, I just see like 22 pages of people. I can't see the dates that they like were last edited or active, and I can't filter things.
Okay, I see. Yeah, I mean, I can speak to so we work with people with Simply Connect, the wider sort of organization who kind of own Simply Connect. And I can give you their email so you can kind of get a bit of it might be worth having a discussion with them to kind of see about how complicated it might be having two accounts. But my instinct is to say that you would be fine to have two accounts. And if you find our version more user friendly, and I guess with this tutorial, you've kind of been familiar now with how to use this one specifically, I would maybe recommend using this one for now. But yeah, I can, I'll send you an email with the person that we kind of work closely with the wider Simply Connect. And yeah, maybe you can have a conversation with them about that.
Great, thank you.
No worries. Helen?
Yeah, forgive me if I got this wrong, but when you were demonstrating before, if Amna, say, had been scrolling through and she'd come across our organisation and it had written, I'd really like to volunteer with you, here's my contact details. Because I would then contact her directly, and that's fine. But do I need to then go back into this volunteers in progress thing to update the status and everything, even if it's been taken off the portal and I'm dealing with it myself?
Yeah. So I think I understand that it's extra admin really for you to then kind of do this automated thing, and I think a lot of organizations don't. So it's absolutely fine and it won't really impact how you recruit that volunteer. But for our recording purposes, we selfishly ask that you do that. But we also understand that it's extra admin and your time is limited. So yeah, if you remember and you have the capacity to, it'd be brilliant if you could update the status, just so we have that on record. And yeah, again, what I've said before, it kind of helps us with future funding, to kind of let people know how many people have been successfully recruited. But yeah,
I totally understand that. So if we recruited Amna, does Amna change her status? I mean, is she still available to other volunteers? I mean, organizations. So if we say that we've contacted her and then she started volunteering with us, it's up to her whether she wants to do other volunteering with other organizations. It doesn't limit her or anything.
No, not at all. People are welcome to apply for as many roles as they want. They can start volunteering for as many roles as they want. As a volunteer as well, they have a similar kind of platform, I guess, in the same way that they can see who they've contacted and what roles they've applied for. So they can also see it from their end as well. But yeah, they're more than welcome to apply for as many as they want. And I think that's also reflects reality. A lot of people like variety and maybe like volunteering for lots of different organizations, and people stop and start volunteering as well. So this is also can be used to reflect that as well, that they might stop for a bit and then they return, they might volunteer somewhere else for a bit, and then so it can be really fluid, definitely.
So do volunteers, do they tend to message organizations directly, or do they tend to do this I'm interested thing, so that we have to proactively go into the portal and look?
Well, I'm not sure. I don't know. So because obviously if a volunteer took their own initiative and just called up Food Cycle themselves and said, I've seen your role being promoted on Simply Connect, but I don't want to go via Simply Connect, then they're, you know, again, they're more, if the result is that someone is successfully recruited for volunteering, that is really the most important thing. So as long as that's happening, we're happy. But we have seen that there's obviously 600 people using it, and people are messaging organisations. So a lot of people are using it in the way that I've demonstrated. But yeah, who knows? A lot of people could be going away, and I guess that's also a part of it. It's a good search engine.
It's brilliant. I don't know why I haven't been on it with this. It's really good. So thank you.
To hear.
And I will try and make sure you get all the data you need to.
Thank you. Cheers. Brilliant. Kate?
Yeah, I just have a question about the skill sets that you have. And are you able to add, do you have any control over that within the software to kind of like add different skill sets in there?
Yeah, that's something that I've been pushing for as well, that I think, and again, maybe this training can be really useful for that. If there's any feedback that people want to put in the chat about sort of skills that specifically they think would be really useful to include on Simply Connect, that would be really, really valuable information for us. And we can take that to, again, wider Simply Connect and request that they fill out more. Yeah, I think since it was created, obviously there are some parts of it that are slightly outdated, like the COVID tick box and stuff like that. I'm all for it kind of being modified for people's needs and descriptions. So
brilliant.
Would welcome any constructive criticism, definitely.
It's not a criticism, it's just
or good feedback. It's all good.
Yeah, great.
Thank you. Maeve?
So I've just seen there is a question in the chat. But also just before that, just to let everyone know, we've done our final poll of today, and we'd be so grateful if you could fill it in. It's just about how confident you feel now with recruiting volunteers. So it's just a really good indication for us today of actually how useful this was and how beneficial. So please do take a second to fill that in. And then we had a question from Kinship Kitchen. How long does it take to be approved once registered?
Great question. I would say around 2 to 5 days. Sometimes it could be the same day, but I would give an average of kind of 2 to 5 days. If you don't hear anything back and you feel like it's taken a bit longer than it should, again, email hello@lewishamlocal.com, and I'm sure they'll email very promptly to let you know your progress with your account or one of the roles that you've uploaded. Brilliant. Any other questions at all? Oh, a few more. Yes. Shay? We can't hear you, Shay. You might be on mute.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Hi. I just wanted to sort of have your thoughts on if the website will be more mobile friendly in the future, because I'm using my mobile phone most of the time because I'm doing it on the go while I do other things. And I don't always have the time to actually get the laptop out and work on the laptop. Because I find it really hard to actually follow up with volunteers, get their email. I can't even message them back on the platform if I use my mobile. I just can't see the field. It's just something, if in future it's going to be more mobile friendly.
Yeah, this is all really great feedback. I think, again, this is definitely something we can take to Simply Connect, like the wider organisation, and find out if they have plans around that. And kind of give them that feedback that for a lot of people, and I guess that goes for volunteers as well. A lot of volunteers will be using it on their mobile phones as well. So we definitely want it to be as accessible as possible. It's good to know. But unfortunately, I don't have any specific updates for you right now on what the plans are, I guess, for for making the website more phone accessible. But yeah, I'll take that to Simply Connect, definitely.
Thank you.
No worries. I think there was another hand at some point, but it might have gone down. But feel free to ask any more questions if anyone does have any. Helen, yeah.
It was just me. I think to is there an option, or is it recommended to upload photos and logos and things like that?
Oh, that's a good question.
It's just like the one in Southwark that I use tends to, but I mean it's I mean the quick answer is no, because it's much easier to not try to find photos and logos and things. So that's good if that's not expected necessarily.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think there's maybe even, I don't know if there is an option maybe on our one to upload photos, but I guess again, I'd recommend within your description of your volunteering opportunity and your group, kind of having a link to whatever is your preferred way to kind of direct people to what helps people understand your organization best. So whether that's your website or if you have a WhatsApp group chat or an Instagram, whatever it is, I'd recommend sort of putting that in your sort of description and then maybe taking people that way rather than, yeah, trying to put a JPEG that then gets really warped and makes it more complicated. So yeah.
No, exactly. Thank you.
No worries. I'll stop sharing my screen and then and I can see all of you. But yeah, if there's any more conversations or I mean, how have people found it? Has it been useful? Yeah. I can see nods, lots of nods. That's really great. Brilliant. I'm just seeing all the influx of messages.
Daisy, do you want to just quickly remind everyone about the upcoming event, just in case?
Yes.
I'm thinking people might need to leave soon, so maybe.
Yes, I'll go back to.
Right. So that was me. So if you bring it up.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Fabian. You go.
Oh no, it's cool. And just to remind people, the poll is in the chat. Right. So we're really glad you joined us today. We're very excited and we're having a follow-up, and our follow-up is going to be in person. And so now, having done recruitment, we're going to be looking at retaining and managing volunteers. And this is going to be highly interactive, case studies, role plays, and food and networking. And it's on the 10th of July from 2 to 5 at Orchard Gardens Community Center. And we only have 6 spaces left. So it's 30 slots, and as of today, 24 were taken. So those of you who haven't and may be interested, you may want to, as soon as you log off here, rush over to Eventbrite. Use your QR code there and get one of those last 6 spaces. Because we really want to connect the dots. Because oftentimes, a lot of times, people don't think of managing volunteers. Because a really great way to retain volunteers, which is what you want, is what was their experience, the welcome, the onboarding, the people know they were coming, feedback, how do you incentives, how do you take care of your volunteers, especially if they're not being paid a stipend or something, what are the things you can do to sweeten that pot and the experience so they stay with you. And so we're going to be unpacking that in detail with fun interaction and activities on July the 10th. And we're hoping that as many of you as possible will be there to join us. And then we're going to have some food and networking at the end. So hoping you'll be there and can join us. And thanks for being here today. That's my piece.
I'll leave it up for just a couple more minutes just so people could have that QR code and scan the Eventbrite. But I think Diana might have a question for you, Fabian.
I do. It's just a quick question, really. Whereabouts is the Orchard Garden Community Centre in Lewisham? In other words, what buses are going in that direction?
Was that for me?
I can jump in for that if you want.
Okay, thank you.
So it's literally pretty much Lewisham Centre. it's about a 3-minute walk from Lewisham Station. So if you get the train, that's really useful. The 199 stops right
Right.
outside of it, and then about 20 different buses stop at Lewisham Station. So if you can navigate to there, you can pretty much navigate to Orchard Gardens. It's on the Orchard Gardens community estate. And if you know the Tesco's in Lewisham, it's literally on that part of the road. But yeah, if you put this postcode in Orchard Garden Community Centre, it will show you on a map. But yeah, from Lewisham Station, 2-minute walk. Plenty of buses go there, so it's very easily navigable.
And on the 199, Maeve, is it the Morley stop or Blackheath Rise? Which stop is it?
Morley.
Morley.
Yep. Okay, just a quick reminder, if you haven't done the poll, please submit on the actual poll. That would be great. And then if you're willing, we were maybe going to take a picture just of people who are here, just to celebrate the event. If you're not comfortable with that, feel free to turn your camera off. But if you leave your camera on, just to let you know, we're just going to do a quick picture. So if everyone smiles and I'll do it, you can do a wave, whatever you want. Okay, amazing. Thank you, everyone. Daisy, Fabian, any last comments before we?
Just thank you all for being here.
Yeah.
Mainly. Yeah, it's really great to see all of you. And yeah, I kind of recognize a few of your names from Simply Connect anyway. So it's kind of
and also I was just thinking, sorry Daisy, before you go, myself, Daisy and Fabian, we're putting our individual Lewisham Local email addresses so that you have that for the future, because although we haven't officially launched in our new roles, we will be working closely with community groups, so it might be useful for you to have our details. So yeah, we'll quickly put them in. If you want to make a note of those, feel free to get in contact with any of us. Any questions about today, and then do keep an eye out for your email inboxes, because we'll probably do a group email sending you the recording, sending you the slides, sending you information about any future sessions that we do. If you found this useful, we'd love to keep doing a range of different topics and sessions. Oh, and also just a quick plug, something that I run and also Fabian and Daisy will be joining on is I've been doing the Lewisham Local Breakfast Club for 2 years. I think some people have come along. That is on the last Tuesday of every month. And if you found today's session helpful, you might find it really positive to drop in there. It's online between 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. And sometimes we do in-person sessions, we get different speakers, we talk about different topics. You're welcome to come and promote your group. Lots of people find it really useful as a chance to exchange ideas and put people in contact. And if you'd ever like a chance to present about your own group or kind of use it as a chance to host a free online event, please do get in touch with us and you're more than welcome to do that. So just a quick plug for that. Yeah. Diana, did you have a quick question?
Yeah, the question is, you said you was going to share the recording from today. Is that recording also available for us to share to someone else? Like if one of my colleagues was interested in. Oh, great, thank you.
Yeah, we can email it out, but it might be useful for us to upload it to some of the group chats that we have. For example, the monthly breakfast club, Friday fundraiser club, if any of you are part of that. But yeah, feel free to pass it on. And yeah, hopefully again we can kind of run similar sessions. So again, if you found this useful, it's really great to know, and we can continue doing similar things for people who might not have been able to come today.
Monica?
Sorry, as a quick follow-up with the previous question, how do we get can you email it in particular, or are you going to email it to everyone?
We're going to email the recording to everyone, so you'll get an email. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much.
No, thank you all. We've actually finished bang on time, which is very rare and surprising. So thank you if you stayed right till the end. Thank you. We really appreciate that.
Yes, thank you.
I don't think there's any last questions, so I think you're all free to go and enjoy the rest of your Thursdays.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
everyone.
Take
Thank you so
care.
much.